I know people don't like this about me, and I won't apologize for anything that I do on purpose, that I meant to do, and that I don't think was wrong when I did it, and that I don't feel bad about having done. I don't do this to try to be holier than thou, period. I don't do this to try to stay in YouTube's good graces, period. I don't do this to try to kiss up to any politicians for the purposes of an interview. You know, Jagmeet Singh probably hates me more than he hates any of those hecklers that followed him to his car shouting obscenities with their middle fingers up. I say this because I genuinely believe it, and I think it's the only way to go forward. Heckling versus a certain type of heckling versus a certain type of what is outright verbal abuse. Not illegal, shouldn't be illegal. You have the right to say F you to anybody you want. Will it be productive? Will it achieve the goals that you want it to achieve? And more importantly, will it reflect properly on the people that you are representing while you're doing it? It was either yesterday or the day before. Jagmeet Singh, and his name is pronounced Jagmeet. I have been pronouncing it improperly, Jagmeet. It is Jagmeet by his own pronunciation, so I'm not making fun of anybody's name. Jagmeet was doing a stop somewhere in Peterborough, and he got thoroughly heckled. And people think like, I don't like seeing it. People think like, I don't like seeing it. I don't like Jagmeet. I do think he is something of a traitor to Canadian interests. I do think he is the most divisive, deceitful, dishonest, power-hungry, corrupt politician in Canadian politics, tied right up there with Justin Trudeau. I think all of this. I will call him this. I will call him a liar. I will call him... I don't think I've called him treasonous because I think that word is used improperly. I, politically speaking, loathe Jagmeet Singh. I don't think he can be any nicer of a person on a personal level, but I don't know him as a person. I just know him as a politician. He's divisive. He's a dishonest, awful politician. And for anybody who might have had any lingering, for anybody who might not know, Jagmeet is the most divisive, dishonest, and I'll say discriminatory politician out there. He is, like Justin Trudeau, exactly what he warns others about. Way back in the day, people, when I was running for federal office, and Jagmeet Singh at one point was giving a press conference. I wish I could find the video. I'll try to find the video. But he gave a press conference in which he sat up there and said that there's a correlation between right-wing extremism and anti-maskers, people who don't want to wear the mask. They tend to be selfish. They tend not to care about community. They tend to be right. It was the most inane minute and a half of verbal diarrhea. Hold on, I may have to get it. Let me see if I can't find it. I'll give me 30 seconds, and I'm just going to talk about the verbal diarrhea that it was. It was the most inane verbal diarrhea. Jagmeet Singh right-wing extremism mask. Let's just see if I'll remember it when I see it. He gets up on stage and says over and over again in multiple forms, there's a connection between right-wing extremism, right-wing mask, and being selfish. They don't care about community. Oh, you know what? Oh, here it is. Is this it? Here we go. Yes. Oh, yeah, I got it. I was looking for my post so that I could avoid any claims of copyright. This is from the Canadian Press. So hold on. I don't know if people know about this. Like, I take for granted that everyone knows, the things that I've come across in the day-to-day of this. Listen to this.
I do think that there is an connection with
diarrhea.
Who aren't wearing a mask or who aren't following public health guidance, and the extreme right, and the idea that folks in the extreme right don't care about people around them.
Sorry, in the chat, by the way, have you seen this? Yes or no? Real quick. Have you seen this already? And wait for the punchline. Have you seen this? Yes? No. I want to see how many people in the chat are already familiar with this. This was May 11th, 2021. Oh my gosh. The fact that I just saw 3 people say no, we're starting again.
Do you think that there is an connection with people who aren't wearing a mask or who aren't following public health guidance, and the extreme right, and the idea that folks in the extreme right don't care about people around them, aren't concerned about the safety and well-being of people generally, their neighbors, and an extreme right, that kind of ideology is connected with not really caring about the people around you. It's a selfishness where personal interest takes over from a community.
Personal interest takes over from a community.
And we're seeing, that is a trend with the extreme right, not caring about people around you, not wanting to invest in social programs, not wanting to invest in things that support all of us as a community. And the idea of not following public health guidelines and not wanting to do their part to stop the spread of an infection is very much in line with this extreme right-wing ideology of not caring about people, not supporting the people around you. And it is dangerous and it's hurtful.
It is dangerous and it's hurtful. It's selfish, people not caring about community, people not wanting to do what is necessary to prevent the spread of a virus. And it's dangerous and it's hurtful. This is how much I take for granted. Like, I've been doing this stuff for like years now. I just take for granted everybody knows this. To me, it's inconceivable that people don't know that Jagmeet Singh said this out of his own. Oh my goodness. It was a year to the day yesterday. Well, we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary, Jagmeet, of the most idiotic thing. Just remember what he said, people, before we get to the punchline of this disgusting joke. Selfish, not concerned about community, don't want to do what's necessary to stop the spread of a virus. They're self-interested, extreme right. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? What was it? This tweet was from when? Oh, this was May 27. May 27, 2 weeks. But what's my problem? May 11th, 21st, 2 weeks after Jagmeet Singh spills out these beans of intellectual gold, he gets caught breaking the rules. I hope this one, they blocked out the license plate of the car. This is from, I believe it was from the Global News. No one should forget that Jagmeet Singh, after calling anti-maskers selfish extremists, was caught not wearing a mask, breaking his own COVID rules. The convoy is dangerous, Jagmeet. A hypocrite and a liar in a position of power is the definition of dangerous. And yes, I called him a hypocrite and I called him a liar. In my view, that's not quite the same thing as saying F you and running up to his window with your middle finger up, but maybe I'm just making excuses for myself. I can appreciate that accusation. This dude, 2 weeks after that verbal diarrhea of divisiveness, that's dangerous. They don't care about anybody. They're right-wing extremists. This guy is with his buddy who's driving a Beamer. Life is good in the government. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh apologizes after video shows him breaking COVID-19 rules. What did he say? Oh, yeah, that was in response to one of his tweets. I understand people are frustrated that we're still in this pandemic. We've sacrificed so much. When I hold my daughter, I think about getting through this safely so that kids can have normalcy again. And I'm concerned by the dangerous rhetoric we've seen from the convoy. This dude, 2 weeks after calling anybody who opposes mask mandates right-wing extremists, selfish, anti-maskers, dangerous and hurtful, is busted himself, not wearing a mask, hugging his buddy in their own, yeah. So I don't like Jagmeet Singh, politically speaking. I don't know him personally, but it's impossible that someone could be a better human privately than they when they're this bad publicly. It's impossible. So everyone should appreciate that. It's in the context of this backdrop that even still, I say, when you approach Jagmeet Singh the way the people were approaching him, part of what they were saying is totally legitimate. I have children, you're not touching them. Absolutely. Traitor, I believe that Jagmeet Singh is not representing the interests of the people who elected him to represent their interests. And I hope that they start to realize that now. To go from there to F you approaching his car vehicle with your middle finger up, I don't think it should be illegal unless it's violates certain laws like threats, causing someone to fear for their well-being, which that could reasonably do. We're Canada, not everybody's as armed as in the United States, but the people who want to do bad things, you never know if they're carrying a weapon. a firearm. So approaching a politician's window of his car with your middle finger up screaming F you, that could cause some reasonable apprehension, but you presume that there's good security there. But let's just assume it's all legal. It doesn't mean it's the right thing to do or that doing it is going to serve the interest that you want to serve. Because my personal view is once you do things like that, you discredit the group, you allow others to discredit the group whom you are either directly or inadvertently representing. And so let me just pull up my take, which I appreciate people are not going to necessarily agree with. Here, I'm not playing the video, but you can go to my Twitter feed to see it. And it spawned some interesting discussion in the Twitter responses, and one of which was, I think, the best burn I've ever had in my Twitter life. I have children and you won't touch them. That was what one person said. Another person was screaming traitor. Another person was screaming F you. I don't approve of this, and I probably should have clarified. The woman speaking of her children, that is legitimate, substantive protest. Traitor, I think it's there. The FU is where I start having a problem, and the approaching the vehicle of a politician who is detested, I think is if it's not illegal, it's not going to reflect well on the group, because this is affiliated with, seemingly directly or indirectly, the convoy, the outdoor protests, that entity. It will be used to stifle, suppress legitimate critique. But if citizens disapprove of you, they need to be free to express it, and you need to listen. And this is the bottom line. It may be counterproductive in my mind to say F you, and raise your middle finger. That doesn't mean that he gets to disregard it and not listen to it. Jagmeet Singh, if his citizens that he's supposed to represent are that angry with him, he has to listen to them. That's his job. As he does in the video, he just waves it off when they're laughing like it's funny. Oh, he's so thick-skinned that he just waves it off. You don't get to do that when you represent those people. It doesn't matter that they're saying F you. Maybe they should phrase it better. Maybe they should phrase it in a manner that you find less offensive. It doesn't matter. You are elected to represent also not just the people who voted for you, but the people who didn't vote for you. And if they're saying F you and calling you a traitor, you don't just get to disregard that and go to listen to the people who tell you what you want to hear. You have to listen to them. Okay, I'll get to the part 2 of this in a second. Let's just get to some super chats because I don't want to fall too far behind.